Hi, I'm Ray Tanzen, Product Manager here at PreSonus. I'm going to talk to you today about the new AVB option for our Studio Live AI mixers. So what is AVB? Basically, AVB is an audio transport that carries all of the channels of your audio across a single Ethernet cable and across a network. And our very first implementation will allow you to connect a Studio Live AI console mixer at front of house to a Studio Live AI rack mixer on stage. So I'm going to walk you through that setup and all the cool things it does. The first thing you're going to need to do when you get your system is update the firmware on your Studio Live rack mixer. The rack mixer already comes with the AVB card installed, so just a firmware update will activate the AVB portion of that. For your Studio Live AI console mixer, you'll need to install the new AVB option card and then update the firmware on your console mixer. Once all of that's set up, you're ready to start making the connections. There are two ways that we support with this first implementation of our AVB option. One is just with a simple peer-to-peer connection, and that's what we're using here. A single Ethernet cable going from your Studio Live AI console mixer to your Studio Live AI rack mixer. Now when you're using this configuration, you're going to want to use the included Wi-Fi dongles to connect to a wireless router for control of your rack mixer and your console mixer. The other way that you can connect is through an approved AVB switch. When you connect this way, you can either connect your control computers with a hard wire to the switch, or you can connect a wireless router to the switch and connect wirelessly. So using the switch, you'll take the console mixer and connect that to the switch with the Ethernet cable, and take a second Ethernet cable to connect for your rack mixer to the same switch. Now that we have the connection made, we need to set up the mixers to use the network. So all you have to do to get the system set up is on your AI console mixer, you go into your system menu, you'll navigate down to the digital menu, and you'll scroll over to the stage box option and turn it on. Now, your network is connected. Once you have that connection done, we're going to handle all of the routing and all of the workflow setup for you. So the way that it's going to be set up is now that I've made this connection, all of the 32 inputs on my AI console mixer are able to source the 32 inputs on my rack mixer using the digital button. So the digital button will now, instead of sourcing from the FireWire input, will source from the network input. So when I push the digital button, that input is now coming from input 1 of the rack mixer. To keep it simple in this first implementation, we've done a one-to-one routing. So channel 1 on your rack mixer is going to come up on channel 1 on your console mixer. Channel 2 is channel 2, and so on. The other connections we're going to make for you is we're going to take the main mix of your console mixer, and that's going to show up on the main mix left and right outputs of your rack mixer, so you can plug in your front of house speakers right from the stage. The third connection is going to be your talkback. The talkback input on your console mixer is going to be automatically configured as the talkback input source on your rack mixer. In addition to having the routing taken care of, we give you some control over what's going on in the inputs of your rack mixer right from front of house on your console mixer. So with that input set as my network input, I can now control the preamp gain on my rack mixer using the value knob. So when I select the channel on the channel info page, by default, I'll be able to adjust the preamp gain using this value encoder. Additionally, the 48-volt phantom power button and the polarity button are also remote controlling the rack mixer input stage. If you would like to source one of your input channels from FireWire instead of from the network, you can still do that. To do that, again, select the channel that you want to do it on, and on the channel info page, you'll navigate down to the digital source, and using your value encoder, you'll change that from the network to FireWire. This way you can source any of your inputs on your console mixer from either the analog input that's locally on the console mixer, the network input coming from your rack mixer, or from the FireWire input connected to your console mixer. Another great feature that we have in this first phase of our AVB implementation is the synchronization of our scene save and recall. So from your front of house mixer, once your network is set up, when you save a scene, it's actually going to save the scene for both the console mixer at front of house and the rack mixer at stage. This way, when you recall a scene, it will recall on both of them. Now, if you have a specific setup that you need for different monitors that may not change the front of house mix, you can manage the scenes and save and recall separately on your rack mixer. When you recall and save a scene on the rack mixer, it will do it just locally for the rack mixer. But as long as you're connected on the AVB network, any scene saving and recalling you do from the front of house mixer will do it on both the console mixer and the rack mixer simultaneously. All right, now let's answer some questions. Since we've announced the AVB support for our mixers, we've gotten a lot of really great questions come in, and we thought we'd take a minute to answer some of those for you. What is the difference between AVB and Dante? Well, Dante is a great protocol designed by the good folks at Audinate, and there are over 100 manufacturers that have thousands of products available on Dante networks. Dante is a great solution for a lot of large installations where you need a lot of interoperability on a large-scale Ethernet network system for your audio. AVB is an open protocol, and that is what we've chosen to use as the base protocol for our network systems for a PreSonus ecosystem. Now, over time, this system will grow to include third-party support and interoperability, but it is not at a stage like Dante where there's thousands of manufacturers, or thousands of products that are available to interoperate. So if you're looking at a more modest system like what we have with a stage box and a console mixer to create something simple like a Digital Snake, or connecting some PreSonus speakers or Works Audio speakers, an AVB network is more than enough to get you by. If you're doing a larger installation and you're wanting to connect with, say, LabGroupen or Yamaha or Biamp or others, the Dante network is going to be great for you. Can I connect more than 2 mixers on the network? With this first implementation of AVB, we're only supporting connecting one console mixer with one rack mixer. It won't support any additional mixers on the network. However, we will be updating that, and you will be able to have multiple mixers on the network very soon. When will you support AVB networking with the SLPA and Works speakers? That support is coming very soon. Really, we just need to do some updates to the software so that you can properly manage your connections. Will your mixers work with third-party AVB devices, such as from Pivotech and Motu? At this time, our AVB network is proprietary with our own systems. However, since AVB is an open protocol with other manufacturers working on it, we are working directly with several manufacturers to ensure interoperability in the future. We don't know exactly when we're going to be able to offer that support level, but rest assured it is coming. What switches will be compatible? Since an AVB network does require AVB compatible switches, you do need to pay attention to what you're getting to make sure that it's going to work with this system. We have a few switches that we are testing and qualifying, and those are available online and in the AVB brochure. Specifically right now, there are switches from Extreme, from Netgear, and from Motu that are all AVB qualified to work with our systems. We expect that list to grow over time, but right now, that's what we focused on for the first initial support. So that's the first phase of our AVB support for the Studio Live AI mixers. Remember, there's a lot more to come over the rest of the year and into next year, and this is just the very beginning of what we have to offer. We're really excited about it, and if you have more questions and you want to learn more about it, please check out more information on our website and our brochures to learn about how AVB and the PreSonus Studio Live AI network can help solve your audio problems.